Hey, Natu here. Today I'm going to start a new what if. This is my second attempt at recording this, so let's hope it works. So, this is going to be a reimagining of multiple what ifs that I've already tried, which are leveling systems Deku. Basically, the reason the two others didn't go far, well, one did go far, but wasn't able to end it, was because I actually had too much information and was not able to go that far with them. Because the moment I lose one part or two, I'm basically done and can't do a lot of things anymore, which is bad. So, afterward, afterward, yeah. After the little explanation of why I'm doing a what if Deku had a leveling system, so let's start. The explanation on this one are that the world basically goes with, how can I say? Well, a leveling system. That's easy, but basically the 5 last polls I did on my channel were all to determine stuff for this what if. So, first of all, the first one, which was Dragon, Giant, Fairy, and Dryad, I think, those were to determine what half-race Deku will be. The one that got whoa. Sorry for that. Yeah, so the one that actually got chosen was Dragon. So basically that means I will make Deku a half dragon. The second one, which basically asked what you wanted and for different things, was actually to know who would get one for all. So, easy enough. Who did you pick? Well, you picked Mina. Alien Queen, like she calls herself. So, that was kind of a good thing too. For how I felt. After that, there was the system of the world. Well, how to get money in the world. Which, basically every category in this one are usable for money, but the one I picked was basically, okay, how will Deku get the most money, or how people get more money. So, killing monsters. Basically, the world works exactly like a game. So, killing a monster gives you loot and money. Basically, when you kill a monster, normally you can, by dissecting it, or if you have someone who has the power of this dissection, which basically breaks it down without you needing to use it, which basically you can get it as a skill. When you use it, you're able to directly get money, materials, and weapons, drops, whatever. So normally what you need to do to get those drops is go to someone with the skill, since not everybody has it. Everybody can get it, or well, everybody can get it by a specific means, but then there are factors to get it in different ways. So now let's go to the mechanics of how stats works. There will be a level system, but you can also increase your stats by training. So if you want to, you could train constantly by doing different actions. Like if you're hurt or if you get hit many times, your defense can increase. If you do a lot of strength training, your strength and stamina can increase as well. When you use magic, even if, well, magic skills, when you use them, your mana gets depleted and then goes back up. But the more you use it, the more stats can increase as well, since training. Which means that if you have the skills, at level 1, well, if you have the skill for magic, and for the rest, basically just let yourself be punched or hit, and then train naturally, you could get a lot of stats and stuff like that. And have the same stats as someone that is many times over your own level. Since not a lot of people use that method, it isn't really well, a lot of people use it, but most of the time people prefer to level up by killing monsters or doing other stuff like that, since it's easier. You kill low level monsters over and over again, and then you have both loot and experience. Then, for the mechanic of the game. For skills, which skills basically have the capacities of both, oh yeah, I want to be a swordsman, I use a sword. If you choose the job swordsman, which you can get basically, you can get your job in multiple ways. You choose it. The first time you get a job, it's you who chooses it. So, if you're young and you want to be a cook, you can get cook. You can't really change it after a certain amount of time, but basically it's like that. Anyone, no matter the job, can become a hero or a hunter, which I'm going to explain a bit later. Basically, the job you choose will determine the skills you get from your stats, as well as how your stat increase by leveling up. Basically, if you choose the job swordsman, your stat will go more in agility, strength, and vitality. While if you choose to be something like a cook, you're going to get more intelligence, strength once again because cutting and stuff like that. But then if you look at the skills, a swordsman will get more sword skills, skills to boost his own body, to be better with the blade, and things like that. While a cook will get skills for cooking, cutting, dismembering, and preparing basically almost anything. So depending on your job, your skill will increase. The skills you will get are different, just like your stats are different. So instead of getting stats by leveling up, though, how you get them? How you get skills is not by leveling up. It's depending on your stats. So by raising a certain stat a certain amount of time, you can get skills basically for the job you chose. Deku will have a little problem with that, which will make him a lot stronger than most, because of a little something which will happen to him. But yeah. So depending on your job, the skills you get, you will get different skills than other people with different job, but every skill will depend on the amount of stats you have. So if, let's say, a swordsman wants to get has the swordsman skill and wants to raise it, he will need a certain amount of agility and strength, as well as its dexterity, while a cook will need more dexterity dot to the line. Like, since what he needs is for cooking is dexterity and intelligence to know what he's doing, those are the two stats that he will need to raise the most to get new skills for him. He can still get new other skills, like, okay, skills are divided in two categories. Job skills, three categories. Job skills, neutral skills, and unique skills. In those three categories, there are levels for each, like common, rare, common, great, rare, legendary, then there's unique, and then there's God skill. God skills are basically like, they're not quirks, because quirks are a different things. They're not skills directly. But basically a god skill would be something like, oh yeah, I can rewrite the world itself if I wanted to. But skills have sometimes cooldowns, while some others you can use them whenever you want. So now for job skills, the way it works is that for the specific job, you have skills that you can only unlock on that job, or in jobs, well, basically like a swordsman can unlock sword skill. A magic swordsman can also unlock those swordsman skills, but he can also unlock the skills of a magician. So basically, there are some jobs that can regroup the skills of multiple jobs, while some jobs only have their own skills, and that's it. For common skills, or wait, what was the word? Yeah, I think it was common. Normal skills. Basically, a normal skills is something that everyone can get. Depending on your job, you will get them at different points, like different stats that you need to reach. But basically, those are skills that everyone can get, like normal cooking, so not like something high-end. You can get, but it's basically just like, oh yeah, you can cook normal stuff. You won't get like the super unimaginable capacity to cook extremely fast or cook meals that like requires a specifically rare ingredients that are extremely hard to cook. Not to that amount. It's basically like, okay, yeah, I can do home cooked meals and stuff like that, which is pretty great. Let's not say the opposite, but still. So like, throwing skills, everyone can get it. Running skill, everyone can get it. Basically, everyone can cook, everyone can run everyone can throw. But once you unlock those skills, which basically you still need to do it a bit often to get it, because oh yeah, you unlock this. You unlock the throwing skill without ever throwing anything. That won't happen. You still need to try to do it at least once. So like, oh yeah, I'm a kid, I throw something. Okay, later in life I don't throw anything anymore, but I've reached a stat point where I could get it. If you throw something, the skill might activate. So not everyone has those skills, but everyone can get them. It's basically that. Then there are the unique skills. Those are skills that are only gettable or by extreme chances, or when you buy them. Which I'm going to explain a bit later how it's going to be, but still. How it works is that, oh yeah, that skill is something that you cannot get normally. You have to or be born with it or have the capacity to get it later in life and stuff like that, or have a rare chance of like stumbling on something that allows you to get it and buy them. And the last one is to buy them. So basically, unique skills are like extremely powerful skills that can do many different things. Depending on the one you get, you might have a lot of abilities. Normally those skills are only found in like 1 in 10,000, sometimes 100,000, sometimes 1 million. One out of those people, which basically means it's extremely hard to get. Don't confuse a unique skills with a normal skills that has like legendary or unique or rare or stuff like that. I'm going to explain why later, but basically those skills can only be gotten not by raising stats, but by extremely rare occurrences to happen. Like, someone will not unlock the skill to fly if they don't have wings normally. Some people are able to unlock it by getting items or stuff like that merge with their bodies, which can happen when completing dungeon or other things like that. They're called artifacts, which can or give you a temporary skill, or give you a skill forever if you basically use the item. Most of the time, those gives you or a unique skill that is absorbed, or that can only be used a certain amount of time while only being able to be used by the item. Others can use common skills or the skill of a job, which is why many people actually look for those artifacts. Since artifacts can have multiple effects. Some can do things like, oh yeah, here is a pen that while you're holding it, your intelligence is risen by 20. But that's temporary, so good luck. Like in any video game, since you have those things. One of the choice for the ability to raise stats was by items, but it's different than that. The one I was thinking when talking about that was like, oh yeah, you find an item in the world that, or by defeating a monster, that this item raises your stats forever. But artifacts are a different thing. Like, you won't get armor that can raise your stats, but you can find artifacts, which are a lot more hard to come by, since you need to complete a maze, a dungeon, or find ruins, which Those basically occur over the world naturally. I'm going to explain it later. So the last way to get skills is by buying them with points. The way the point system works is by defeating monsters or getting specific achievements. Those achievements can depend on the person, so not everyone has the exact same achievements lists. As well as some people having more achievements that they can do, while others have less. So yeah. Other way to get points is by defeating monsters. But don't think, okay, so then I can just go kill a slime 10,000 times and I'm going to get a lot of points. It doesn't work like that. Monsters are classed by rank. From F to triple S. And there's another one on top of that, which is called Extinction, but that one I'm going to explain it when we get there. So, yeah. F rank is basically monsters like slimes, goblins, stuff like that that a kid could, with a few levels, could defend from. The E rank monsters are a bit stronger, which you would need to actually be trained a bit to be able to defeat them. A normal guy won't be able to kill one of those like, oh yeah, here I am killing that monster that I should not be able to do anything against. That's not how it's going to work. Then you have after that, basically every monster over that one is stronger and stronger and stronger. Basically think, okay, an F rank monster would never beat an E rank monster. But a group of 10 F rank monster could be able to beat an E rank. The problem is that after that, 10 E rank monster would have a bit of trouble against a D rank monster. They could probably still beat him, so okay, but they would have problems. After that, a D rank monster, 10 D rank monsters will not be able to beat a, how can I explain? For each rank, add at least 10 times the strength of normal monsters of those categories. There are variants, which basically variants is a monster that or modified itself from or evolved itself from his own species, which is still called, let's say, slime. The slime evolved into its variant instead of evolving into the next level, which I'm going to have to explain also, but basically a variant is the same monster with a different color, a bit bigger, yeah, something like that, but it's still the same monster. It's just stronger. Has special abilities that normally aren't in their races, and stuff like that. So, let's say Goblin. A goblin that turns variant, let's say, Golden Goblin. That goblin is a lot tougher, a lot more defensive, and can get from 1 to 2 unique skills. Those skills can be ranging from able to use magic to able to use unique weapons that the others of his race are not able to use. As well as you having skills that can be for attacks or defense or buffs or stuff like that. Those are variants. They are stronger, bigger, meaner, and basically be careful. A variant rarely goes to the next level, but can be classed as being able to fight against those of a level above. The simple reason is because, okay, yeah, they're still called the same race. Basically, a variant, they just say, yeah, if you see it, even if we called it the same rank, put it a rank above. So you don't want to see an extinction rank monster have a variant. That would be a disaster. But yeah, basically, monsters are dangerous. They have a ranking system, and they have variants, skills, and everything just like humans, as well as levels. A normal monster of F rank and E rank will never give you a point. Like, ever. The variants can give you points, as well as drop items when they die. Like drops. When you go to a dismantler, which is a person with a skill to dismantle, like I explained before. So, basically, they can give from, well, the points coming from a monster will depend on the class, as well as the power it has, and blah 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 blah. With the points you get, you can buy skills from, and by buying with those, you can buy pretty much any skill you want. The problem is that unique skill 1 can range from costing almost nothing because they're weak, to costing a huge amount because they're OP as hell. Normal skills can be bought pretty easily, and normally cost a lot less points than unique skills that are of high level, because they're already skills that most people would be able to get. Then you can also get job skills, which the point system depends on which job you have. If your job is a swordsman, you can buy with points sword skills a lot easier than, let's say, hammer skill, or forger skill, or hand-to-hand combat skills. But if you're a cook, it's the same thing. If you try to buy a skill for something you have no relation to, like a hammer user or something like that, it's going to cost a lot more. But a cook normally uses knives, which are blades. If a cook wants to learn a sword skill, it's going to cost more than his cooking skills, but it's going to cost less than other skills, since he already knows how to use a blade. Yes, it's a different type of blade, but it's still a blade that cuts things, so it costs a bit less. All of those basically are what were chosen, so yeah. Now, heroes and hunters. Heroes are people who protect cities, hunt monsters that get close to those cities, go and fight against villains and stuff like that. While a hunter is specifically someone that simply goes hunt monsters to make sure that they don't grow too strong. Think of it as an adventurer. So a hunter basically goes to kill monsters, find ruins, temples, dungeons, maze, basically, or to destroy those, find treasures in them, or just go and tell that, okay, yeah, we found one, so that people can go there or avoid the area. Basically, for maze, temples, dungeons, and ruins, they spawn monsters from magic. Basically, the mana in the air gets absorbed in those places, which births monsters. A monster in a dungeon, when they die, will turn into magic. Well, mana. No matter what you do, you won't be able to get it out. But the good thing about those is that the loots drop automatically, so if they drop meat, weapons, coins, stuff like that, crystals, it's already going to be on the floor, you won't have to bring it to a dismantler. So that's a bonus. Then if you break the core of the dungeon, you get, first you get points, but you also get the chance to get a skill, which can be a unique skill or stuff like that. Since normally people don't actually use points that much to get unique skills since they cost way too much, or actually because normally they can't even see those skills, since you can ask for a skill with when you have enough points. The problem is that what they show you most of the time are job skills and normal skills, which means unique skills can't really be bought by normal people. They can still be bought, don't get me wrong. It's just that normally you won't actually see them, since almost anyone can go see their status at a church, or, well, they call it church, but I'm going to explain it in a bit. They can go check their status at churches or in places with an appraisal stone. Appraisal stone basically tell you what your stats are. At churches and stuff like that, you can get, well, you can see the list where you can see skills. The problem is that on those appraisal stones, you cannot see unique skill, which is the problem. Some people have an appraisal, a skill that lets them appraise things. Those people have the capacity to see some unique skills. But normally it's like one or two things that is already relevant with what you do. So those people can get unique skills, but normally not enough. Like, since points don't fall out of this, like they don't grow on trees. Since people won't go forcefully hunt a monster like a dragon or something like that, they won't get a lot of points to buy those skills. So they do it carefully. That is why not a lot of people are super OP. They train, they gain level, but they normally just kill monsters that are around their strength. They don't go hunting for a monster that is like C class, B class, A class, or above those, unless there's literally a need for them to do that. Sorry about that. So most people won't get a huge amount of points. So that's why people have to be careful with those. Now, churches, those places are basically there to change your job. When you change your job, what happens is that first, you have to pay a bit of your stats to do that. Basically, stats gained by leveling you won't lose that. But stat gained by training, those you will lose them. Not all of them at once, but you will lose a part of them. And the rarer the job you want to get after that, the more the more you will have to lose stats of training for. Which means normally you don't really do that since you want to keep those stats. Since you want to keep your skills. So basically, when you do that, you can or take your own. Well, there's two ways actually to change your job. Or by using your stat points, which uses them and basically you can job change, or by paying. Basically, if you give enough money, you will in turn be able to go and change your job without having to use any stat points. The problem is that it costs a huge amount. Like for each stat points, you'll need to get at least a minimum of 10 in money. Well, 100 yen. Which is a lot if you want to change your job and that it normally costs you around 10,000 or so skill points. Since those are around the rare types of jobs. So yeah, it's kind of hard to do unless you want to change to another common job. So yeah. Now, what was the other things I needed to talk about? Since this part is just a part 0, like you can see in the title. So it's basically explaining the world. Okay, so the Hero Society and the Quirks. Basically, the Quirk, just like in the anime, started appearing one day. When people were using appraisal stones to look at it, it wasn't skills or stuff like that. It basically created a second window with, well, not really a second window, but an extra place where you basically have your name, your age, your level. Then normally it's your stats. But then when Quirks arrived, between stats and levels, Quirk appeared. At first, before they were named, it didn't actually have a name. All it was saying was power. With the name that power had. After they changed it to Quirks, the system basically updated itself and put it at Quirk. So Quirks also have levels and stuff like that, but compared to normal people, to normal skills and stuff like that, an appraisal stone can be blocked when you don't want to show your quirk. So like all of your stats are still shown, but if you touch it and don't want to show your quirk, it won't show. That's basically able to do that. Someone with the appraisal skill can also be blocked, but you need to know he's looking at you. So yeah, that's kind of hard to do if someone looks at you from a distance and that you don't know about it. There is a skill called Appraisal Block, which will instantly block anything from being able to appraise you unless you take it out. Well, take it off for a while. So that's one thing. Now for the way the Hero Society works. It's basically the exact same thing, but when monsters come too close to the city, you also get called by authorities to basically say, yeah, monsters are coming this way from that place, that sector. Can they send heroes to stop them and go investigate what's happening? Basically, they call heroes and hunters for when that happens. So that's basically an extra job for both of them. So now for everything else, basically it's just like the rest of the world is about normal. when it comes to cities and stuff like that. Technology still exists. Phones, stuff like that. Everything's still there, it's just that they have magic, skills, and stuff like that. So, yeah. Um, then there are demons. Demons are a type of monsters that basically are humans but with monsters' capacities. Pretty easy to explain. Demons aren't all evil, actually. Most are pretty chill. It's not like those things like, oh yeah, there's demons and demon lords and stuff like that. No, it's more like, okay, yeah, there's demons, but they basically just act like humans. Everything is basically the same for their society. It's just that, just like humans, they're criminals, and other people like that, so that's happening. Most of the time, the two races, humans and demons, don't actually live in the same cities. Basically, it's like, oh yeah, demons are also there, so basically think of it as half the world's population is demon. So take about half the places in the world and give it to demons instead. That's basically how it is. They still communicate, they still talk together, it's just that they don't normally live in the same society. When Quirks arrived, they basically became a bit more on equal footing, since demons had monster skills, but now humans had powers that were unique. So yeah, basically we're going to see a few demons in this, some that are heroes, some that are villains, and yeah. So with all that said, now let's go for wait, what was it now? Sorry. Okay, yeah, Deku. Deku is born without a quirk, basically just like in the original. He does have a skill though, which means that he isn't bullied. His job that he has is called, just to be sure, Shielder. Basically a shielder. Those are people who use a shield, but they're not tanks. Basically a shielder, think of it as Captain America. He basically fights with his shield. Those are shielders. They can use other weapons as well, but it's mostly shields and they get shield skills. Compared to a tank, which can get aggro skills and stuff like that, a shielder mostly fights more alone, kind of. What they're supposed to do is, when they're in groups with other people, is they jump in the fray. They go in the middle of the battle, and since they have high defense stats, as well as attack stats and vitality, they can take a huge amount of hits, but they can also dish out a lot of it. Most shielders also have a few skills or spells that are healing, of the healing kind, which means that, oh yeah, I can heal myself. They cannot heal others with those skills, but they can heal themselves. Like, oh, here's a skill name is protection. Wait, no. Overprotection. Basically, this allows you to automatically come back from about 5% HP to 100% anytime in a battle. But it has a cooldown. Basically, like, oh yeah, you have to wait like 2 or 3 days before you're being able to use it again. But it means that no matter how hurt you are, as long as you still have HP and that you're under 5% of your life, you can get back up fully healed. Any injuries, any damage, bam, back to top. Meaning that they can do a lot of damage. Another skill they have is called healing. Sorry about that. Healing guard. Basically, this is that if they can place themselves in a position where someone only attacks the shield, every attack done to the shield will give you a bit of HP. Not a lot. Basically, like, okay, the damage it should give you is that much. We're going to give you back about 10% of that in HP. The problem with that is that the attack needs to always be concentrated on the shield, and that you cannot move while using it. So, it's kind of hard to do, and dangerous at the same time. So, those who are of that class are normally seen as extremely powerful people, simply because of, oh yeah, I can take a huge amount of hits, and basically come back from the brink of death anytime I want. The problem is that if someone kills you before, like, you're over 5%, if someone does an attack that does more than that in health, the first skill won't work. Just like if someone is able to do an attack that can break your shield, or that has more than 20% of your HP, yeah, you won't be able to protect from that first. And second, you won't heal. It will just hurt you. So, yeah, those skills are great, but they still have backlash to them. Deku will lose that job. Basically, when he's young, until he's 4, a lot of people basically see him as being someone who's going to be great as or a hunter or a hero. Deku wants to be a hero, but he doesn't know yet if he's going to be able to get to that point. At the age of 4, basically, when they saw that he didn't have a quirk, Deku was a bit sad, but not that much as in the anime, since he wasn't going to be bullied. For an obvious reason, which is his job, which is basically in the rare category. It's not in the unique or legendary, but it's still there. Yeah, that's like... So basically, it's a pretty good job. So he's not sad, nobody bullies him, but Inko still decide that, you know what? Let's go at a place where he can level up. Basically, what they do is go to a little camp, which people can go there to defeat small monsters like slimes, goblins, and stuff like that. Basically, the reason for that is because there is a small dungeon not far from there that only has 3 types of monsters that comes out of it, and the boss doesn't leave the boss room. Basically, these monsters are bats, which basically I should probably have said that before, but there are still animals in the world. It's just that there's also monsters. Basically, the bat monsters are different than the bat animal, but the two still exist. The but yeah, the cave have bats, goblins, and slime. Sometimes rare variants can come out of that, but they normally have a hero or a hunter always posed there to kill those. While they're there, Deku, who is still young, so normally he didn't level up yet, since they don't normally let a kid go and kill monsters, no matter how weak they are, until they're trained. So, level 5, not level 5, age 5, with a bit of training to increase your stats. Or if someone's there to basically whittle down the life of the monster, and then the kid can kill it to gain some XP. Deku, it's his first time going to kill monsters. He's excited. They arrive there late at night, so they go to sleep, but the problem is that it's next to a forest. And something happened. A large amount of monsters were basically going on a rampage and basically destroyed the entire camp. Everyone tried to fight them off, but yeah, they weren't able to. Everyone there died. Except one boy. So yeah, Inko is dead. Deku's still alive, but barely. And I'm going to end it here. So yeah, I hope you like this one because yeah, compared to the other ones where I also had guilds, stuff like that, I'm not going to put that. Skills are still have a lot about them and stuff, but this is basically stuff that is common from a lot of video games, for like stuff like armor having levels, so that's a lot easier to remember, just like skills having levels. Basically, the point countered by skills come from multiple mangas I read and stuff like that, so yeah, that's one thing. So yeah, for now, I hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I'm going to read everything. Since, for now, there's not 10,000 comments being put under my videos. I'm going to leave a link to my Discord in the description, so come and join if you want to. Natsu, out!